Alright guys, welcome back to the channel again, and well, I've been doing this like since morning, because the thing is that I work like 3 to 4 days like back to back, so I would not be able to get time to do another like a shot in the intermediate time or anything. Well, this presentation is about something that we use in cameras a lot, is the use of ND filters. So right now I'm not using any ND filter. My shutter speed is around about 2000 and my ISO is 200. But sometimes in a broad sunlight like this, if you are switching it to auto, and by auto I mean to say that since your DJI Osmo Pocket is not having any sort of manual control on your videos, so pretty much what happens when you use an ND filter on your Osmo Pocket will be our presentation. To demonstrate this, I did not buy any sort of ND filters for the Osmo Pocket. Why? Because I'm a non-sponsored channel and I do not do a lot of stuff with my Osmo Pocket. I actually shoot a lot with my DSLRs. But I'll post you some links where you can buy from, and I will tell you the pros and the cons of buying an ND filter, because everybody's like, oh, how about putting an ND filter on it? Hold on, watch this presentation, then you're going to learn whether you need that ND filter or not. So to demonstrate this, I have got one of the best ND filters in the market. This is Tiffen. Tiffen is used by a lot of pro photographers, videographers as NDs. Now usually a lot of videographers, a lot of my friends, they use like graduated NDs on the top, but I use a variable ND because I do not do any sort of professional work. So I bought a ND filter. So now let's show you the difference on a camera, and then I will show you the difference on an Osmo Pocket. So same ISO and same stuff while without using ND filter. Let's switch to an ND filter. Okay, this is a variable ND, so which means that I can bring up my brightness slowly, and right now as you can see, this variable ND does an amazing job by bringing the light to 2/4. Right now I do not need to crank up or decrease my ISO as the way I can. So as you can see right now, it's pretty dark and dense, and it holds on to that highlights and everything. Now what I can do is that I can quickly jump into my shutter speed and keep my shutter speed a little bit open. So I can adjust my shutter speed to 640, and the main purpose is to bring my ISO around about 100 or 200, not to shoot more than that. So that is the quality difference that you see when you apply an ND filter on a full-on DSLR. Now, how will it change an Osmo Pocket? So we are going to do that on an Osmo Pocket, trying to keep it as snug as possible, and we will see how instantly the video changes on Osmo Pocket using ND filter. So let's begin. Alrighty, so this is straight up looking into the sun. I bring my ND filter on top of it. So as you can see the difference right now, that the colors and highlights will hold up for better things. So for example, if I'm bringing it down and I'm trying to see the greenery and everything without the ND filter, and this is with the ND filter on top of it. Now I do not have the DJI official ND filter. This is just an ND filter, just to give you kind of a perspective. Now this is kind of ND2. Now let's go and see ND4. This is ND4, and this is what you get when you use an ND4 filter. So was this without the ND4, with the ND4, and then again we are going to see any sort of detail loss or anything, where you can, if you apply this ND4, you can see this to be as it holds and everything, even at broad sunlight. So this is ND8. Okay, so this is ND8. Okay, this is ND8. Okay, overexposed scene, you cannot control you know, the exposure, so which means that you need another ND filter. So this is without, and this is by using the ND filter. So what's this? This is using the ND filter, this is without the ND filter. So that's how the highlights and everything gets preserved when you are using an ND filter. Now the ND I'm using is ND8, so let's see if I can darken the situation a lot or not. So test again with the ND filter. There is a lot of wind right now, and as you can see that this shot is more or less overexposed, and there's no way I can control this shot. But then again, I bring the ND filter into it, and this is the ND10 I'm using. So ND10, I think ND10 is doing a greater job in I'm putting it on top of my lens, so you'll see a little bit of jittery. But the thing is that this is with your ND filter, this is without the ND filter. Again, this is with your ND filter, this is without the ND filter. So there you go, guys. I gave you like 4 or 5 examples of how to use an ND, whether an ND filter makes a lot of difference when you're using on an Osmo Pocket or not. So let me know down in the comments below that do you think that the ND filter is worth it, whether you would get an ND filter yourself or not, just because there are a lot of stuff that when you attach an ND filter to a small 3-axis gimbal. The number one big difference, or the biggest problem with the ND filter, is going to be when you put it on this tiny 3-axis gimbal, it's going to heat up those brushless motors a lot. Once it heats up that brushless motors, it's going to add a lot of stress on those tiny motors, which means that after maybe few months or so, you will see your Osmo Pocket not working properly. Why? Because it adds a lot of stress on those tiny motors. So be careful with that. I do not think that putting an ND on a 3-axis small gimbal like the DJI Osmo Pocket is worth it, because if you are living in US and if you have the Osmo kind of Care or anything, and if you are getting an Osmo Care Shield or anything, that Osmo Care Shield might be able to replace your camera. But if you're living outside US and you have not purchased any sort of protection plan or Osmo Care Shield, I don't think putting an ND filter will make that much of a difference from a point and shoot like Osmo Pocket. So there you go. If you think that this presentation was honest and I could show you the major difference of using an ND, not using an ND, give me a big thumbs up. And guess what, let me know in comments below what you think. That do you need an ND? Because I don't think for a tiny 3-axis gimbal like an Osmo Pocket there is a requirement of putting any sort of ND filters in the morning. I mean, like, what are you going to do with an ND filter? There is no purpose of putting an ND filter on a tiny camera like a DJI Osmo Pocket, and especially those ND filters are around about 50-60 bucks. Well, that's my opinion, but I do want to know your opinion. So share in this channel called Opinions Matter, and we'll see what happens. And what's your opinion about it? Well, take care.